faculty members, audience. I welcome you all in my presentation. My name is Shahanoor. I am a PhD student, final year PhD student, PhD candidate in Brunel University. I am doing my PhD in information system. And my case study is located in Bangladesh, that is electronic service delivery of land records, and where I try to put ICT4D theoretical lens, that is very emerging theory, SocioMateriality. So this is how I try to put this presentation, my findings of last 3 years case study. So outline of the presentation is objective that understanding socio-material interaction lens. That is, it is not interaction. Socio-materiality focus on interactions. Consider that how technology and organizations are inseparable. So this is how my presentation will focus on interactions in technology and organization and different views on interactions. And a case where intermediaries, the traditional intermediaries or middlemen, and the technological infomediaries, the telecenter or kiosk operators, how interact with technology and organization, and the methodology I applied. The case study is e-service of land records. And finally, I will reflect how socio-material interactions work in technology and organizational context. So basically, objectives of this study or this paper is 6. To understand socio-material interactions in technology and organization with the case of infomediaries and intermediaries in e-service of land records in Bangladesh. That the argument of socio-materiality is that main argument is that there is a ceaseless entanglement in technology and organization, where we put technology and there are some organizational process and actors, always they shift continuously and entangle the technology, entangle with the organizational process, and organizational process reshape the technology. This is the main argument and this is the main objective of this study. And this interaction lens I applied to analyze the continuous entanglements and disentanglements between infomediaries and intermediaries. So interaction in technology and organization is not new. Basically, if we trace actor network theory, a work of later that is emerged, that technology and organization is that their network is always where the network starts and where the network finishes, it cannot determine. So from the writing of Bruno Latour, Karen Barat, Introna Lucas, many authors in the field of sociology of technology, they applied this, try to understand the interactions without separation in technology and organization. Particularly the ubiquitous dynamic relations. The relations is not linear, nothing that you can determine, or nothing is constructive. So to trace these ubiquitous and dynamic relations in technology and organization, it requires rich theoretical underpinnings. This is the most vital question in ICT4D studies, that ICT4D require more wider theoretical lens, though it is a very new field. So that is why, to me, socio-materiality offers is a very wide, it's an umbrella approach. It has lots of tools, and it's also a philosophical paradigm, theoretical perspective, and basket of concepts and tools, particularly interaction, relational ontology, essential realism, implication, diffraction analysis. Lots of it's a big basket. So I'm not going to tell all of the tools of socio-materiality. Particularly, I will focus how the interaction, understanding of interaction help us to trace entanglements and disentanglements in technology and organization. Because socio-materiality focus equally on social and the material. So this is how it helps to trace inseparability in organization and technology, and seeks constitutively entanglements and disentanglements in technology and organization. There are several views on interactions, particularly the pioneer of socio-materiality, Professor Karen Barat, emphasized on interaction to understand inseparability and entanglements. Lucas Introna from Lancaster School Since interaction is an ongoing co-constitutive, that is, technology constitute organization and organization shape the technology. That is called co-constitutive interaction that engender the ongoing and intertwining meaningful possibilities. Never identifies interaction help us to trace micro-entanglement. That entanglement does not take a big shift. It is gradual and chronological, and that is a ceaseless process. In such a way, Bharat claims that interaction iteratively reconfigure what is possible and what is impossible. That possibilities do not sit still. That we particularly design a technology or design a portal to address the organizational problem, but it opens such possibilities at the same time. It opens or constrains some possibilities also. This is how technology, as we put some possibilities or opportunities, at the same time it also makes some constraint. So this is how sociomateriality is not biased to technology or the organization. It offers an equal treatment to technology and organization both. So the case where I applied the concept of sociomaterial interactions, that is informal intermediaries and infomediaries. Intermediary is not a new concept. Particularly in the field of IS or ICT4D, intermediary is highly discussed. Particularly intermediary, I have used this concept intermediary and infomediary in two distinct ways. That is, intermediary is a traditional broker, traditional middleman, or the third party. It has been used in developed country maybe, and also the developing country. And this is a very traditional form. That is, who use their knowledge, their skill, their network for the brokerage purpose, for the third party or the middleman purpose. This is in a public sector organization, which is visible in developing countries. So this is already in organizational public sector organization in developing countries, middlemen and broker are visible. Whereas when we put some technological network like kiosk or electronic e-service center or e-Seva in India, where we put the e-Seva or e-service, electronic service, then there we find some other form of intermediaries. That is I called infomediaries, known as information worker. They are the bridger between citizen and the service provider, kiosk or telecenter operator, or they are the digital divide minimizer. When we put technology in a developing countries, there must people, there is a large population who don't have knowledge of technology, but we need to minimize their digital divide. So they work as a digital divide minimizer. So I treated them as infomediary. In the case of e-service of land records in Bangladesh, the traditional intermediaries are involved from the British period, from British India, when the service of land records started. So to remove them, the government designed electronic service delivery network, where about 5,000 countrywide telecenter has been networked with this service. So as a result, there are 5,000 infomediaries developed. So my analysis how the intermediaries, the traditional middlemen, broker, and the newly developed infomediaries, the telecenter operators, interact with this service delivery. The study I conducted with the methodology action design research, Mongsen and other colleagues developed action design research where I put some ethnographic intervention that researchers intervene in the context, understanding from their points of view and from the native points of view and the researcher point of view. This is how there is problem formulation, identifying problem with the organizational actor and the researcher, and identifying their solution and their different cycle and problem to solution. And this is how this methodology has been applied. The case called the land record service delivery in Bangladesh. This is the land records. This is the paper printed records, which is prepared 100 years back, 150 years back, from which the certified service delivery is issued to the citizen. To enter into this service, citizen has to pay a use bribery and depend on the middleman, that is the traditional broker. So to address this problem, These are the problems I identified that must enter into the intermediaries or the broker. And duration or assurance of the service delivery depends on brand. And receiving this service is highly costly, time consumable, and intermediaries dependent. To address this problem, e-service has been introduced by the government with multiple access points that citizen can access into this service. There are 3 access points: web portal, front desk, and telecenter, what is called in Bangladesh digital center. So to remove the traditional broker or the intermediaries. So Infomediaries, if we call that web portal, front desk in the office, and the telecenters. People can, from the rural areas, they could apply for the land records. This is the ideal design or the technological design to receive this service delivery. But however, we put the technology in the organization. How the organization reshape it. So we found that the intermediaries in the red form, they enter through the front desk. Since the front desk is set up in the organization, so citizens are going to the office to collect the service delivery, but the office front desk operator, they are receiving application from the intermediaries instead of citizen. Because they have the network, the organizational staff give the preference of the intermediary or the broker because they have the vested interest, the matter of transaction bribe. So this is how all other 2 points, telecenter, neither telecenter nor the web portal are used. Only the front desk, because front desk is captured by the intermediaries. So this is how in the first phase we found that other 2 access points are not used. Only the front desk, citizens are going to the district headquarters to receive this service, but ultimately all the applications are collecting by the middlemen, and middlemen are dropping the application to the front desk. So to address this, in second phase, we remove the front desk. Since we have access point in almost every village growth center and the web portal, so we remove the the front desk. At that stage, we found that since web portal is open for all, so the middlemen, the traditional broker, they manage one laptop or one computer center where they have internet connection. So for their client, they are submitting application from the web portal, because you cannot trace from the web portal who is submitting application. It is open for all. But Bangladesh is such a country where literacy rate is very low, 30 to 40%, and particularly electronic literacy is far less than 1%. So particularly if the traditional broker or the middlemen who have knowledge of technology, so they are manipulating the power of technology. They are submitting citizens' application through using web portal. Instead of citizen empowering, the more traditional broker is getting more empowerment. And at the same time, the Infomediary, they are not getting access to, and they are not getting ways to help the citizen to receive this service. Because the organizational process gives preference to traditional brokers due to the bribery process or the organizational mechanism. And to address this problem, we further redesign the process that the telecenter, we remove the web portal also. Last, that we put only citizen and telecenter, all the citizens, they have access to telecenter, and from telecenter to organization will collect the application. As the result, we found in this stage the influence of the intermediary is reduced, but however the bodily shift, previously the intermediaries was located in the district headquarters, surrounded the office, but when we put on citizen will come through telecenter, then the intermediaries shift to the telecenter. They collect 5 to 10 clients' application and they are going to a particular telecenter, and on behalf of citizen they are entering their application through the telecenter. So this is the bodily shift or the entanglements from organization to the other ends of the point. So finally we reform the organizational process. We put some CCTV, that who is coming into the record room, the land record office, and we put when particularly that one person can submit only 3 applications in a day, that particularly one intermediary cannot submit 50 applications, and that who is submitting application from which telecenter is recorded. this is how we put some barrier for the intermediary, the traditional broker, and continuous monitoring. This is how we found that citizen and telecenter entanglements is increased, and further the government started the digitization of the paper-based record. As a result, that digitized record easily can send by electronically concerned code or which purpose they use. So from these 3 or 4 phases, we found that when we put some technology to address particular organizational problem, organization has some influence, or the organizational process has some ways to reshape or redesign. This is how we found that interaction, that this is not one-way interaction, that we put some technology and technology will address the problems, or the organization is always will reshape the technology. It's not from both the side, that technology and organization, they are moving from their both the areas. So this is how this lens is highly help us to continuously design and redesign the organizational process and at the same time the technological process. Because when we put some technological process or technological network in an organization, this is nothing that completely static. It's continuously changing. So to trace how much moving from technological ends to the organizational ends, to trace it, to measure it, to follow their actions, the socio-material interaction lens helps a lot. And this provided equal treatment to organizational process and the technological process. This is how I found that the socio-material interaction is a potential theoretical lens for starting complex organization, complex field in ICT4D, particularly in developing countries. For starting ICT4D in developing countries is really challenging, because theories developed in Western countries is really hardly answered in many questions of ICT4D in developing countries. So this is how I found that socio-material interaction lens is very wide, and it offers an equal opportunity to consider technology and organization and all the actors equally. And this is how I found for ICT4D studies, socio-material is an emerging theory for the ICT years. Thank you very much. If you have any question and contribution.